Hey, what's going on, folks? Here to do my Chavez Jr. versus Andy Lee and Eddie Chambers versus Tomas Adamek post fights. First, Andy Lee, Chavez Jr. Andy Lee has a good jab. He has a good straight right. He has a good right hook. He hit Chavez Jr. with all of these punches, clean, flush, and multiple times in a lot of rounds. I mean, this is significant. Chavez Jr. didn't seem affected at all by these fucking punches. And I hesitate to give him credit. I want to get on here and be like, oh, it was like the best fight. Oh, it was so exciting, and it was a great fight. But with all this other bullshit that came with the fight, as far as the weight issues, the not getting his gloves weighed, I don't care. I don't really know why he wouldn't get his gloves weighed. Don't everybody have to get their gloves weighed? I thought that was a thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't really care that he fucking didn't do the urine test, because he probably couldn't, because he was too dehydrated. I don't think it's healthy what he's doing, and I don't think it's right either. So I hesitate to give this fight too much praise, but I mean, you have to. There's no walking away from Chavez Jr. versus Lee and not having at least some sort of respect for Chavez Jr.'s fight game. But still, you take that good positive that he looked really good against a real tough guy, and then you weigh it against all the negatives, and I still can't get behind Chavez Jr. too much as a fighter. I think he's scared to move up to 168. I know that's a big assumption, but those guys up there are ranked. A lot of them. We rate them highly as a community, the guys at 168. Does anybody really see Chavez Jr. surviving at a weight class like 168? I sure as fuck don't. So, I think he's struggling to make 160 because that's where he feels, he can win. I think they know that going up to 168 is going to be a fucking problem. So, let's get Chavez Jr. versus Martinez, and hopefully Martinez, I'll hope Martinez puts him on his ass and ends this whole fiasco. Moving on. Eddie Chambers versus Tomas Adamek. Personally, I scored the fight 8 rounds to 4 for Adamek. So I don't feel it was a robbery. I feel one of the scorecards was ridiculous. But I felt the right guy won. Whoever that judge was needs to not be scoring professional fights. But there were some close rounds in there, but I think if you look at the close rounds and try and give the close rounds to one guy or the other, Chambers is going to come up on the short end of a lot of those, simply because he didn't work enough where Tomas was dropping body shots all night long. That being said, I can't give too much credit to the winner, because after the first round, Chambers didn't have a left hand. and was still able to pull away at least 3 more rounds after the first on my card, but definitely not enough. But he went 11 rounds with Adamek with one fucking hand. I think that's pretty badass. Me, personally, I think that's pretty badass. I think it shows how versatile, at least, that Eddie Chambers can be with that right hand. And if you throw his left hand into the mix, I think he beats Adamek every time. But Chambers has to get healthy. I mean, he lost the fight. It doesn't matter that I think, more highly of Chambers now after watching him fight Adamek with one fucking arm, he still lost the fucking fight. So now he's got to go back to the drawing board and try and scratch up another fucking fight to get his name out there again. And he's got to get healthy. I'll pick a two-handed Chambers to beat Adamek, like I said, every time now, especially after seeing that. But Adamek did win the fight. So that's how I feel about that. And I think that'll do it for now.